Hey, so I'm just dipping my toes into the whole video essay thing, so it's not going to be a very analysis-heavy video. I am not the person to talk about politics and symbolism, the circumstances of its making, or the entire game thing of Disco Elysium. But I can, however, tell you a story of my own playthrough, how I might have gotten the game wrong and got a very different experience out of it. This is not a review, and you don't need me to tell you the game is good, come on. In fact, the game is so good that I'm still unsure if the whole deal that I experienced was as unintentional as I think it was. I mean, it definitely feels like the I walk to the edge of the map in Minecraft kind of surreal experience, with things falling apart and not working how they should. But at the same time, with the falling apart being not technical but narrative, it sure feels like the falling pieces land in too neat of a pattern. But let's start from the beginning. I know video games. I mean, I'm not a huge gamer, not at all. I don't play the latest new thing, I can't run it, and I definitely haven't played all of the somewhat well-known video games out there. But I do know video games. I sit at my computer, kicking my feet up on the desk. My fingers find the controls easily without thinking, buttons connecting straight into my brain without much effort. I can guess what controls do what, and I'm usually right. I know video games. I know RPGs especially, my favorite kind of game for sure. I know them enough to be slightly delusional that I might be able to make one someday. These are my companions, my side quests and my main quest, my alignment options. I know video games, but Disco Elysium knows that I know. It doesn't tell me yet, of course. I start today clueless, just like everyone else. The mirror, the horrendous tie, guard, the corpse, business as usual. Finally got myself to stop vomiting all the time and thoroughly examine the corpse. And I really mean thoroughly. There is something satisfying about turning all of the dialogue lines grey one by one, isn't it? You're going to pull his head off. I'm sorry, I didn't even want to take them off. I just thought I should try. Try what, exactly? I shift uncomfortably in my seat, embarrassed even. It's true, I didn't think any specific thoughts about Dead Man's boots. It was just an option to pull on them after looking at them and touching them, so I did. It was red. It's awkward. I feel a little called out. It stays with me. I try not to do anything weird while Kim is around. I could write it off as the game just poking a little fun at its own medium. It's nothing new, plenty of games do this. The wording of it definitely feels very casual, nonchalant, and momentarily. But I don't think all fourth wall breaks are created equal. For example, something like Deadpool the video game starting an obnoxious monologue directed towards the player is one thing. Disco Elysium making snide and judgmental remarks on my habits and patterns without breaking character feels very different. I don't like that, it makes me uncomfortable. It makes me second guess myself to not be judged again by the character that I might be able to forge an actual relationship with. I love being friends with made-up people. But then the hardest blow comes. Later, when standing with Kim on the balcony, I asked him what he thinks about today. Partially because I care, mostly because it's an option to ask. Today was exhausting. What's with all the running? I put my feet down from my desk. This time I'm embarrassed, big time. Who runs in video games, I mean? I have places to be, tasks to complete. I don't even think I should be running. It's just what I do. It's how it is supposed to be. I scramble looking for excuses. It catches me so off guard. I am paranoid and unsure what the game keeps track of. I lose my grip on video game meta. After beating the game, I do feel like it might have been just a setup for "you are a gym teacher" joke, but I definitely didn't say it coming then. I became paranoid. Should I wear the clothes I found in the trash? Will Kim think it's weird? Should I ask this guy for cash? Should I carry this racist mug around? Should I? I nervously unequip tools after I'm done using them. If fucking Skyrim has the guts to comment on me walking with my weapon drawn, Disco Elysium will definitely take me on a ride about it. It doesn't. I shy away from exhausting dialogue options after being told how much I fucking love questions so many times it feels like bullying. It's relentless. The fourth wall is indeed broken, but instead of the game spilling out into the real world, I find myself too deep in the character's shoes. The game's treatment of me and him blending us together. At some point, the magic fades, when I load a save after miserably failing at Mercenary Tribunal for the first time, and uncover literally like 10 more hours of gameplay after breaking some of the act normal rules, and accessing the parts hidden from me mostly by my own paranoia. The fear of getting caught red-handed committing sins, I guess. The exact nature of what I was so afraid of, what I was so uncomfortable with, became unclear very quickly. Shit, did Disco Elysium just simulate social anxiety? Was that on purpose? But even when the anxiety fades, the effect of it lingers, fusing me and Harry together, making me so preoccupied with his interactions with the world. Despite the game reading my gaming habits pretty well and intentionally or not, grabbing me by my metaphorical nuts with it, it doesn't pay much attention to an obvious thing for me. It's surprising, really, for a game with such colorful depiction of addiction and alcoholism especially. I really don't see any importance being placed on denial. Maybe the denial is intentionally unimportant. The dialogue options are there for me in case I need them, but that's about it. Even before the fourth wall breaks, even before I see Harry sprawled on the floor, I know no one can find out how bad things really are. I don't even think it consciously. It's not even a question. I don't know where this idea might have come from except my own head. The game doesn't say, hey, maybe don't let anyone know you have amnesia, explicitly or implicitly. But it is exactly what I try to do for the first few hours of the game. No one should know. I will get in trouble if this is uncovered. I will lose my job. And solving cases seems to be the only thing that keeps me, Harry, going. Doesn't matter that 20 minutes ago I had to touch my own nose to make sure it's there. I must appear that I have my shit together all of the time. I don't ask stupid questions a person with amnesia might ask. I'm not in on the Raphael Cousteau joke on my first playthrough, because I'm not stupid enough to try to invent a new name for myself when Kim and the others might know my real one. I just say nothing, dark, broody detective style, and see if it comes up in the conversation later. I need to avoid being caught lying. I'll play it cool, I got this. It's not in the game, it's in my mind. Always appear to have your shit together or you will become a target. Trusting your problems to the wrong people will only give you more problems. I'm thinking it through. If I call the station to report my badge missing, they might ask questions that I don't have the answers to. So I don't call the station. Cover your fuck-ups and fix them yourself. I never drank myself into total amnesia in real life. I don't think that's medically possible. But I did my fair share of drunk mistakes, and I always kept my poker face. Admit what you can't deny what you can't admit. Unfortunately, the game had no option to do so. It assumes that I will spill my beans eventually. And after a couple of hours, Kim casually mentions my amnesia in the conversation. I get stressed, of course. Where did I slip? What did I do wrong? Nowhere. Nothing. Maybe because the game didn't think I would want it to keep track of my secret. Maybe because the game knows some secrets are too big to hide. But the combination of the stubborn need to appear fine and the constant anxiety of the game catching me on my gamer bullshit definitely makes quite a mix to put me on edge. I am in constant search for the right thing to say and do and for the wrong thing to not do. I don't attempt checks I have a high chance of failing. I don't do certain things unless I am 100% sure I am prepared for them. I walk on eggshells in conversations to appear professional and do actual police work instead of whatever high Inland Empire players were doing. I lose hours of gameplay, the whole branches of dialogue to the strive for normalcy. It's honestly shocking the amount of content I missed on my first playthrough. All that on the altar of the right thing. This feeling of searching for the right sequence of action and non-action is nothing new. Many games do this. I vividly remember having less fun gameplay in Dishonored, crouching and crawling to be unseen and undeadly, all for the sweet, sweet low chaos ending, the good ending. I remember being obnoxiously nice and not punching a reporter even a single time in Mass Effect, just because being a paragon saves your friends from being killed. Maybe doing the right thing is hard at first, boring, and even takes away from the experience, but in the end you get a cookie, a nice and wholesome reward, something good. I love these cookies. Doing the right thing is my #1 gaming habit. You know where I'm going with this, don't you? Disco Elysium takes my right thing, slaps it across the face, spits on its shirt, and shoves it face down in the toilet. And again, was it even intentional? I don't think Disco Elysium really wanted to roast me on doing the right thing. Despite the overall melancholic mood with slight nihilistic flavor, the game is hopeful, treats characters who genuinely want to do good with warmth and tenderness even. It has a soft spot for them. I am, however, not one of these characters. At least, I don't think I am. I'm not sure if we have the same idea of the right thing to begin with. The game clearly makes a little bit of fun of shit-togetherness when I, unprompted, immediately try to achieve it. I cannot shake the feeling of every right thing I do being seen as pathetic. Trying to fix my mistakes, minding my own business. Disco Elysium might reward a fail check, but it will never reward an unattempted one, even if I feel like failing it might bring hurt to other characters. The completionism in my second attempt never leads anywhere either. I worked so hard, but I won no points among people who stick around. Vic Meyer hates my guts so much, I wish I could transfer Harry to the 57th instead of inviting Kim to work in 41st. When I learned you actually owe guard less if you try to run from him, that felt like a wrong thing being rewarded. But surely there is one right thing we can agree on, right? When I see Harry naked, hangover, and miserable on the floor, I know what the right thing is. Get my shit together. Paranoid desire to not let anyone know that I'm falling apart aside, we actually have to put real effort into getting better and stop falling apart. Well, me and Volition. Electrochemistry, not today, not ever. We are not licking the booze off the counter. We are not buying booze. We are not drinking booze. We are not even thinking about drugs. We are not even curious about drugs. And hell, since we're at it, we are not even gonna bum any cigarettes from anyone. Baby, we're going clean. Now, where's my reward? Now, can I please have my reward? I am right. Just a tiny little cookie for me, please. Oh, for fuck's sake, can I have one break here? Oh my god. Disco Elysium not only doesn't give me any rewards, it rubs it in my face how unrewarding my decision is. I mean, I can't disagree. As a person who had alcohol issues myself, I can attest to how unrewarding this decision is. You are so much more fun to be around when you're drunk. Several real-life people told me when I made real-life right choices. The first few days, weeks, or even months are this weird limbo for both Harry and me, when drunks and addicts think that I am no fun, and normal people think that I am, well, a drunk and an addict, just going through a thing. I also feel like shit physically. The game doesn't have any characteristics buffs except substance abuse, so I have to work on my individual skills to get anything done now, or think my thoughts and hope they won't debuff me even further. A stupid hat and sunglasses are the only guilt-free things that I am allowed to have now, on the condition I found them in the garbage because now I have rent to pay. Just like real life. I don't hate it, it's a very mature and informed take on the topic. Reality is not a wasteland, of course. It might feel like a prison or more like a job that you hate doing. Grey and no fun at all. I just want to quit this office for a little bit, but that's where I'm supposed to be. I just want to play games that reward me when real life doesn't. I am not some kind of self-improvement guru with well-groomed facial hair and in understated grey t-shirt and dark blue jeans. I will take all the dopamine I can get to avoid drinking again and falling into the hole of depression. Disco Elysium doesn't provide an escape or an answer. It could have been just a simple case of writers shrugging and saying, it is what it is, but that's not the case for me. See, with all of my walking on eggshells around this game and these last painful, this is how normal people are all of the time, it feels like a call out again. You work so hard for this, but this should be a given. Appearing normal and being normal isn't the same thing. With my quest to act adequate, it's no surprise I score boring cop first. Kim, am I boring? He doesn't really answer. Boring is just a bit more judgmental way to say normal. But wait, it gets more judgmental. You are not just crazy, you're also boring. The worst of both worlds, I read between the lines. The game stubbornly doesn't have the option to be just boring, just normal. I score sorry cop pretty high as well, and I am mad. I do not say sorry all the time. I am not the sorry for being sorry kind of person. I feel like it's the most natural thing to do. Own up to your mistakes, show remorse. Many characters and several of my own attributes tell me to take my remorse and shove it up my ass. Still, sorry isn't bad in my eyes. I don't hate these judgments much. Isn't it what I wanted? Isn't it what I am? I can imagine worse judgments being made. Don't want to be identified everywhere I go as Tequila Sunset, that's for sure. Isn't boring and sorry cop the desired outcome? The signifiers of the right choice? Apocalypse cop, disco cop, art cop, delusional cops that are about to be relieved of their job, I'd say. Nothing wrong with being these things, but being apocalypse too loudly or disco in public feels cringy, irresponsible. Somehow wrong. With communists a bit is one thing, getting way into Krasmazov is the other. Isn't the average good? But the game's judgment stings a little. Or a lot. You're not just crazy, you're also boring. It feels like finger pointing. You kinda suck at being average because you obviously aren't. You suck at being fabulously crazy, creative, mad, unhinged too. Trying to be normal so hard kinda cramps your style. Who is this show for? Why do you even care? The game asks me silently. Neither of us has the answer. The game, because I probably hallucinated this entire discourse and projected it on it, and me, because I am too deep in this problem to have any insights. I rarely doubt my own real-world averageness. Even with my all quirks accounted, I am within the statistical range. I am rational. I know I will not do anything significant or achieve anything big. I know people probably don't see me fail because they don't care, they are not watching. I know there are plenty of people who are the same way I am. I know I don't experience anything brand new. But Disco Elysium, willingly or not, succeeds at asking, if you are so average and normal, why do you have to work so hard to be it? Shouldn't it be natural? Why try to be normal if there isn't anything in it? Who is this spectacle for? Who are you besides normal? I do feel like I got the game wrong. I missed it, didn't I? Watching other people's video essays and playthroughs, I see so many different versions of Harry. Insane, angry, loving, passionate, intelligent, depressed, delusional. Not boring. And the in-game world changes with him in a way that I've never seen when playing it myself. A world of wonder behind the dialogue options I didn't have the guts to click on when it got personal. The attribute and personality combos I felt uneasy playing. It seems like a game about self-discovery, identity through other people's eyes. It has many themes for sure, the work so broad and nuanced. It asks so many questions. But, tripping on my delusional approach, it spills its box of words and spells wobbly among the rubble. What the fuck is your deal even? It's kind of funny, really. In a game about self-discovery, I discovered that the last thing I want is to discover self. Disguise it, maybe. Squeeze it in a comfortable box. What was once discovered cannot be undiscovered back. I think the trick of drinking yourself into a blank canvas only works once, and in video games. I'm afraid to find something outstanding, something big and special about myself. Where this craziness is pulling me? Was I a raging communist all along? I'm not sure if I would like being one. I'm not sure who I want to be. I look in the mirror at the expression and I put the expression away. I don't really want to know why I'm in so much pain. Why was I miserable for this woman for 6 years? Looking at her now, she barely seems worthy of sympathy. The longing I display habitual and hollow. The secret of that love is buried under the sea of being fine. I will never let that feeling out again, failing to face it so many times. It's time to learn from my mistakes. I can tell myself that anything can hide under the boring grey surface of water. And as long as I don't dive, the mystery is safe. I can spend my days building sandcastles on the shore and kicking back weird deep-sea creatures' appendages and apologizing profusely to anyone who saw them. What if I take a dive in there? What is the scariest thing I could find? Normalcy again. I would rather be average my whole life than to go look for something special and not find it. There is no epiphany for Harrier Dubois in my hands. No newfound sense of purpose, desire, friendship, shit, even disappointment to finally end it for good. No conclusion, no satisfying resolution. Blah blah, Phasmid and communism are at fault, and I at least get to keep my job. Although my coworkers for sure wish I didn't. No change here, no new path. Just trivial dialogue options to turn grey before the game reaches the end on its own. After the world, pale. After the pale, world again. The last little bit of accidental or not so accidental symbolism here for me. The pale is incomprehensible and wide, forever expanding, but there are worlds beyond it for brave souls to find. But how can you find it, even when looking at it there in a distance feels like it can slowly drive you mad? The pale can twist your mind and not yield to you at all. No radio computer is powerful enough to measure even 2 millimeters of it, forever stuck measuring the world around it, doing productive work. But the new world is beyond the pale and nowhere else. I don't know who's brave enough to look for more world in there, who has genuine hope to find something worthwhile. Not me, of course. Among the same and grey many. Let's just blast Sad FM, I guess. I don't hate Disco Elysium, and I don't think the experience with the game was bad, but I didn't have a good time either. I don't know if I love it. I need time to get over the initial hole it blew in my entire viewpoint on life, and revisit it later, maybe in 6 months, maybe in a year. When editing the script, I tossed out several tangents that can become video essays on their own. So this is not the last you hear from me on this game, for sure. I don't know if I found Disco Elysium at the right or the wrong time in my life, if I got it or not. I have no conclusion for myself here. This is what this YouTube channel is for. Once this video is done, I can shove the whole experience into the complete folder and move on for now. Hey guys, thanks for sticking through this mess of a video. In Russian language, there is an idiom that sounds something like every first pancake is always a lump, which means something like every time you try something new or start over, the first thing that you will do is gonna be shit. And this is kind of how I feel about this video. So it's not very good, but it's also not too bad for the first one. I promise I have more topics for video essays that are more conclusion friendly for later. For now, join me on my Discord, go to my Boosty where I've put this whole script of this video as a post. It's for free, you don't need to pay anything to access it. And if you get an account there and like comment and like a little bit, that would also be very appreciated, because I've been stuck for the last 3 months in a struggle trying to prove to them that I am a real person and a real creator, and I have like actual people caring about what I do. So yeah, see you around. I hope it was interesting and entertaining, and my Disco Elysium fueled identity crisis brought you some value. Till next time.